Here at Be Freaking Awesome, we believe that life is too short to be anything less than extraordinary. Join us as we explore what it means to live authentically, grow continuously, and have a blast while doing it. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone, for today's episode of Be Freaking Awesome. I'm one of your hosts, Sami here with Angela Belford, and today we are going to be talking about celebrating the holidays with family when you work inside a family business, and how fun and complicated and awesome and stressful that can be.
And I would say that if people don't work in family business and they still might have some challenging, don't just automatically tune out, y'all. There is also going to be some just tips for navigating the holidays. We are going to lean into family business. Why do we lean into family business, Amy?
I don't know. It's like we are one or something.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. No, I do think it's interesting because if we can pull back the curtain a little bit sometimes, I sometimes struggle with our niche being family business because I feel like I end up in like an imposter syndrome spot to say, who are we to like coach people and train people on how to do family business? Because we have moments, man, and like our family is not this paragon of virtue, and I used to joke with my dad that, like, we should get a chalkboard that says, "How many days has it gone since Barry made Sammy cry?" And my dad didn't think it was very funny. Neither did Barry. That's the
Did your
same person for
coworker?
those. I don't know. I don't think he appreciated it in general. I thought it was funny. So we like on the imposter syndrome side of things, there are times where I'm like, what are we doing? And like, are we sure you should listen to
Yes,
us?
we are 100% sure. And here's why, is that I will tell you that while Barry may not be able to count on, may be able
It's
to
been a
stay
long
on
time.
one.
Things have gotten a lot better, and it has been more than 3 months since Barry.
Oh, yay.
That's not true. Maybe 2 months. It's been a long time since Barry has made me cry at work.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, is that while that is true, there are still tears involved. Number one, it's so much better than it was when you guys were kids. Like, we have come so far, and how we approach conflict. You were like, in the beginning, how are we going to resolve conflict? Barry's like, we avoid it at all costs, right? And you and I are, with this new business that we're starting, we're like, okay, how are we going to handle it if we decide we don't want to be in business anymore together? How are we going to handle it if we, absolutely don't agree? I love my answer, which is that's why I'm 51%.
Yeah, I don't
but
know that I love that answer.
I know, I'm sure you don't, but 26 years, like, I got scars, and we didn't do it right the first time. And this is one of the ways that I'm doing it differently and better. And we do have a backup plan that is like, well, if we legit cannot come to a conclusion and you're not willing to let my 1% override you, which I don't think luckily I don't play that trump card too often. I do want it to be, because sometimes somebody has to make a decision. We've also got like a third party that we are reaching out to that we're going to ask to be a part of this, our decision making. So we're really leaning into that, saying it out loud. We're leaning into being more emotionally available to one another. And so I think I say all the time, what makes me a great coach is I'm still on my journey. The coach that sits on a ivory tower that thinks they've made it, is like not worth following. And so from my perspective, is like, we've got some hard fought wins that we learned something new, dude. I got the scar. Let me tell you about my skint knee. And then that way you can do it differently. So I hate that you have imposter syndrome, and welcome to the world. You're a human, so you got to have something.
Well, I also, when I have chatted with other people, one of the things that I have learned about myself is that like I can make a joke with my dad and my coworker about having a chalkboard that we erased about the number of days since he's made me cry. Like, we not only does it happen, but we also have a conversation about it happening. And from the more conversations I have, that extra conversation about what happened and what do we need to do about it isn't happening, does not happen naturally for a lot of folks. And so I then am reminded that, frankly, like, damage is going to happen no matter what. There's going to be moments where you accidentally hurt the people around you, or maybe on purpose hurt the people around you. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's usually an accident. The the thing that matters is the repair,
100%.
and I weirdly I don't have as much imposter syndrome on the repair. I do know that I'm proud of how well I handle it and that I push for it and that I want it to happen. I will say even, like, I have good reps of doing repair with you. I have good reps of doing repair with Barry. I'm working on some reps on doing repair with the newest family member who's joined the family business,
Okay, can I
and
just say it makes me laugh really hard because you were like, "I thought I really was good at this family business stuff." And until my sister joined, and then it changed up the whole dynamic. And you've had to learn new skills, and
yeah,
you get to grow some more. I hope
yeah.
everybody's watching on YouTube because your face is really funny right now.
I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard. And so there are definitely times where when I share with people, I work in a family business and we love to work with family businesses. Some people respond, I could never. I could
Right?
absolutely never.
That is the most
And
common response I get
it
to
is.
working in family business.
And yet, I also am so grateful that I do get a lot of time with my family, and there are times that, like, I miss Josh the most because he
Yes.
doesn't work in the family business, so I don't
Yeah.
see him every day, and I'm like, "Dude, like, it's been years since I've talked to you." I mean, like, I guess, not literal years, like, maybe 3 whole weeks, but, like, wow, I've lived years with all these other people in these past 3 weeks, and where have you been? Doing your own job somewhere else, so there are lots of, good things as well, and it's really fun. I don't know, we're a very playful family, and so we get to then have a really playful work environment as well, and I do like that side of things. Unfortunately, probably a lot of the playfulness these days has just been picking on Barry with lots of love. Anyway, it's good
Okay.
times.
So this is I love I love this is why we do family business, and this is why we consult and coach and train family business. I mean, we absolutely will. If you need help and we have a skill set that we can leave you, then we're absolutely but we are at our core marketing people too. And so the people that is our bullseye that we love to work with is family business. I would caveat that one more thing is that what I have observed is that there are a number of businesses that we work with that while they are not related by blood, you work with the same group of people for 8 to 10 years and you become like family. You realize that you spend as much time with them as you do with your actual family, and maybe even more than with your actual family. And so I do think that there are people outside of a very strict family business that we can work with, but we do want to talk about how we can navigate the holiday season, especially for those that need the extra resources where they do work with their family. And it could be 80-20, right? 80% of the time I love working with my family, and 20% it's really annoying, or it could be the opposite. So Sammy, let's kick us off with a couple of tips. What's the first
I
tip you have for people that
My
are
first tip is something that I implemented. I will say when I joined the family business, I was very worried that business would be all the time. And so this was something that was just really important to me to implement, is that there needs to be off time from work. This maybe comes from, like, childhood experience that my parents, like, worked whenever. And that does mean that sometimes they didn't work during the school day so they could go to our party or our whatever. But that also meant that they worked on weekends and in the evenings after we went to bed, and they did these other things. And so I did not want, when I came over for holidays or family dinners or whatever, to also be working. I was like, "No, I like my time off." So my first tip for you is to remember that every conversation about work does not need to happen at a family gathering. Are you at work right now? Are you doing work right now? And if the answer is no, let's put a pin in it for later. There are several different ways that you can approach this. Number 1, I what I did is I would say, "Oh, okay, we're gonna have a work conversation right now. Give me a moment. Let me write down the time so that I can make sure to clock this and bill it to you later and put it in at a different." Oh, we have a time tracking software.
What if somebody's on salary? I don't know if that works. So I think you may need a different code of like, okay, this is bonus PTO time or something. You talk
Right.
after
Comp
hours.
time, you wanna talk after hours. The, um I also if you are wanting to tell me something for me to recall for the workday, you wanna say, "Hey, don't forget to go follow up with that client." I don't have my notes, I don't have my time track. I don't have my project management software, none of that is in front of me. I will sometimes say when I'm being told, "Oh, did we do that thing?" And it'll be like, "Nope, we didn't do that thing, but if you want me to remember for Monday morning, you're gonna need to, like, shoot an email from your phone real fast, and
Yeah.
I will go look at it on Monday morning, not right now." So, you also could have a conversation in advance to say, "Hey, family, I know we typically do a lot of work conversations over whatever dinner, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all every family dinner that we do. I'm trying something new and I really would like to try hold more space for just family time. I going to tell you in advance when work comes up, I'm going to say, good thought. Can we put a pin in that for later when we're on work time? Let's do family time right now." And so tell people in advance, this is what I'm going to do. You're less likely to really make them mad in the moment if you just shut them down. And then 2, do it. When it happens, when people bring up work things, basically remind them, "Hey, remember we're not gonna have a work conversation right now. Let's write if you need to write it down on a Post-it note, send me an email, do something. We're not gonna talk about this right at this moment. Let's talk about something else." And maybe you bring some back pocket, conversation starters. "So, what do you think about the government? Let's talk
Oh,
about
please stop.
religion. Let's
No.
talk about climate change." I don't know, whatever it is.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
that's
totally kidding.
terrible. Terrible. You're a communication coach and you
The
are laying down all of
The
those
point of
terrible things.
bring some other conversation starters, to shift to is it's a good follow-up tip.
Okay,
Angela, do you have any
so
thoughts? Any tips?
boundaries, 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 because you
Yes.
love talking about boundaries. I think that sometimes boundaries gets a bad rap
Mm.
because it sounds like it's punishment. It sounds like it's like I'm being mean or hard or whatever. And I think it's just deciding in advance and getting an agreement that this is what the way we want to do. I think sometimes it's hard because I've met people that are they don't like those extra conversation starters, and they pretty much think about work 24/7, and they really enjoy their workaholism. And so when you say I don't want to talk about work, a couple of things can happen. They can be like, "Oh, you're not committed. You're not passionate about the work that we're doing." Brr, brr, brr.
Purr,
Nope,
purr,
that's
purr.
not it. You could also be in a situation where they like, well, what are we supposed to talk about? Oh, let's bring up childhood trauma. Yeah, that sounds great. And so I think there needs to you got to find like get to know your people, and so um, get to know your people, get to know your family in a different way than it just has to be, superficial. One of the things my kids love to do at the holidays, it's not actually my favorite, but I endure it. They love to tell stories from when they were kids of, like, things and mischief they got into that I didn't know about. Actually, I guess that one's not so bad. Sometimes they will end up throwing me under a bus. Um, but I think if you can think about that, like, if your dad, like, what was his grandparents like? And I want to know more about you. Like, what was your favorite subject in school? Like, do you actually know this person? And if you were to introduce them and you had to write a speech for them, as they were getting an award and you had to be the one to introduce them and give this speech, would you be able to do it? And what if it was a speech that was not work related and it was related to like their hobbies and their interests? And so are there ways and things that you can do to get to know them? And I think if you do have that conversation at work in advance to say, here's how I'd like for that to be. Now I say that, and Sammy and I used to talk about work in our personal time. Like on her commute, she would tell me all about her work. I would tell her about my work.
When
And
we
so
worked separately,
when
like,
we
when we
did
didn't
not
work
work
together.
together, right? And I have that with, one of my clients. I work with one of my friends for one of my clients, and I'm like, "I need to have a friend conversation, but I wanna have a friend conversation and talk about work in friend mode, not in work mode," which is also a little bit of a different thing. Like, I just wanna be whether I just wanna be grumbly or if I just wanna be, like, dreamy, like, "Oh, we got this new exciting thing that is happening, and I wanna talk about it."
So, I to me, this goes right along with what you were just saying, though, about having a friend conversation. I try to distinguish this is a broad tip. This is not just a holiday tip. When I want to talk to my mom, there's a different time than I'd be like, I need to talk to Angela. And this is one of the things that Lexi and I were struggling with whenever she joined the family business is I don't have two names for Lexi. I have Lexi and I have Lexi. And so then we would start saying it would be like Sister Lexi, Sister Sammy, like we're nuns. Um, and it was really fun, and then be coworker, Lexi, coworker Sammy, but so sometimes having a title difference to say, "Hey, I need to talk to," like, just use more words. I wanna talk to my mom, I wanna talk to my friend, I wanna talk to my coworker, I wanna talk to my boss. I will say you do need to be mindful that if you tell your friend something that you didn't actually want your boss to know about or be influenced about, unfortunately, you can't always tell your friend if you really didn't want your boss at all to know when that person is the same person. Like,
Yeah.
if I really don't want my boss to, like, go meddle in the situation, unfortunately, I probably can't tell my friend about it either.
Well, I
And
think we've had to even get clear on that. I need to tell you about this thing. I don't want you to do anything about it yet. I need to talk to my coworker about my coworker. I don't want to talk to my coworker's wife because my
right.
coworker's wife can get cranky and then it like comes back and it's a
Yeah,
triangular relationship.
and then I'm trying to work something out with my coworker, and he's like, "Yeah, my wife yelled at me about this morning." And I'll be like, "Wait, no, I didn't tell her that to like do something to follow up with
Yes,
it."
we've had a lot of skint knees on that one, where
Ugh.
you will say, "I'm working this out. I wanna talk it out. I would love your advice. I would love your guidance. I don't need your problem solving. I don't need you
I want to
meddling.
go
I
handle it
struggle."
for my on my
Yes.
own directly with the person who I have issues with. I'm not asking my boss to go step in. There are times where I do need to ask my boss, "Hey, I need you to step in and have a
Yeah,
firmer conversation with someone."
yeah,
Whatever your work is, and sometimes I'm not ready for that. I need the support and the partnership, but let me handle it because I will be I have to do more repair otherwise, like,
yeah,
that will lead to a bigger need to there's just less trust, it's crunchier, it's things like that. So, during family gatherings, in particular, recall the role that you're playing. Ask somebody, "What do you love about the work that you do?" Even when you work together. Maybe you don't know that question about your coworker and your sibling, whatever it is, like that's a great way to have the conversation. I also, when it comes to roles, it is very helpful to have a non-working family member in the room and to do everything you can. Remember to like prioritize. I want this person to feel included. And so for a little while, that's been my husband to be like, if we're at dinner and it is me, my mom, my dad, my sister, and my husband, and we all start talking about work, Chris is gonna get left out, and that's gonna be, like, really sad for him. It's actually he wouldn't really care, but if I think about it and I'd be like, "No, no, no, we don't wanna leave Chris out of this conversation," it's a good reminder to be like, "We probably shouldn't talk about work right now. Let's talk about something
Now
different."
what's interesting is that then we all ask Chris about his work, and so
We
we will
do
know
all ask
about
him about
Chris's
his
work.
work.
It is tricky because we do spend a lot of our time at work. And
Mhm.
even if we don't work together, you end up talking about some things. So maybe that's the thing is we need to like explore
Yeah,
and have deeper relationships.
I like it. Third point, Angela, what you got?
This next one is I think it's good for whether you're in family business or not, and it is conflict. And so often we think that we are helping matters out by avoiding conflict and we just put it off and put it off and put it off. And when you're in family business, and actually families in general,
Yeah.
avoiding conflict feels good until it
It
doesn't.
doesn't.
Until it doesn't, until all everything breaks loose. And what I've seen happen is that someone maybe has an extra drink or two so that their little ability to hold their tongue in is and to keep their mouth shut is diminished, or somebody's tired, or somebody's stressed out, or the kids are driving them crazy, and suddenly, all the conflict of everything, all the unfairness uh explodes on everybody. And so I think if you can get better at resolving conflict when it's smaller and talk
Mm,
about things, then instead of waiting until it's a big, big deal, then you have the opportunity to um, just not set the fire, like let's just tamp it out when it's just a little bit of a a tiny little blaze, and kind of address things as we're going. Is that easy? No, it's not. Am I perfect at it? Heck to the no. And sometimes, I mean, I've just come off a season where I cried 4 times in 9 days because of work, not this family work, but some client work that I'm doing. And I was like, oh, yeah, this feels real yuck. I also went back to therapy, and on my second therapy visit, it only took my therapist 9 minutes to make me really angry. So, hey, we got progress. Anyway, I got some thoughts about grief, some different thoughts about grief that I want to let's unpack it in a future episode. But anyway, I think if we can continue to address things and address issues before they become conflict, right?
well, and if I could give a tip on that, the the question that I would ask yourself when you want to bring something up is, what is it that you need to happen? What outcome are you looking for? What behavior change are you wanting to happen? What is it that you want to communicate, and name that really clearly. And there might be, maybe there's a couple. Here is my, like, my lowest viable outcome I am willing to accept. I am not going to be yelled at in the house in front of everybody at Christmas. Like, I don't want to experience that. My best possible outcome is that everybody is laughing and having a great time and there's never any, like, awkward moments. You can have multiple, like, a best case and a worst case scenario that you're looking for. It is a little bit of the boundary setting when you're looking at some of this conflict, addressing, to say, what do you need out of this? What are you hoping to get? And sometimes name that. I can be like, "Hey, mom, I really am looking for an apology. I didn't like how I was treated at this particular moment in this way, and I would love some acknowledgement of that." Now, we could get into a whole nother conversation about, like, is that actually going to happen? And what does this look like? And all of these things. But if you're going to address conflict and you don't know what you are wanting to get out of it, it's going to be really hard to have that conversation, because oftentimes, not oftentimes, but there's a good chunk of the time, if we can't name what we actually want to get out of it, the thing we probably want to get out of it is the other person feeling bad. And
Mm.
if that's what we're really wanting, like, sure, there's a way to achieve that. Will that lead to a better holiday gathering? Probably not. So, getting clear on what you need and what you want can really help to frame that conversation.
I had a recent situation. Number one, I didn't think I was walking into conflict. I was just like, hey, this is what's rattling in my head. Can I share it with you? And I didn't stop to say, what am I hoping to accomplish with this conversation? Um, and so it went very badly. It went very badly. Like, ended up getting compared to somebody else that I used as an example of somebody who doesn't deliver. And anyway, it was fascinating because I finally was like, can you acknowledge that you hold me to a higher standard than any other person on this in this scenario? Yes. Yes, I do. I literally sat there going, well, crap, now what do I want? Like, what? Okay. 'Cause
Mm,
I don't know how to then say do you see how that's unfair? And do you see how, like, because really what I wanted was them to stop treating me and, talking to me in unpleasant ways, and realizing that, like, it feels like there's no grace for, like, if I make a mistake. And, anyway, so it didn't go super well. Maybe it will. I just all I could do is then walk away from the phone call and go like, "Okay, well, I feel a little vindicated." At least they acknowledged that they're doing it. I don't know if they'll get any better at it, but anyway, that was a weird scenario,
minimum
but
viable outcome.
I guess so. Yeah.
It was not the most ideal outcome, but maybe it was minimum viable.
Yeah.
So that's our
That's
tips for holidays and things like that. First off, hold some good boundaries. Try to keep work at work and home at home as best you can. Number two, remember what role you're in and be really clear to articulate who you're asking who and what role you're asking these questions to and getting to know people about. And number three, don't let conflict fester because yeah, holidays can get tense. Alcohol can be a flowing, stress abounds. Great, just perfect conditions for a really, horrendous business breakup. I recently heard about a business breakup that had happened um last Thanksgiving and still not a lot of conversation between this sister and brother in over a year because of what came out at Thanksgiving about the business. So, those are not things that are fun. Those are things that you want to be purposeful and intentional to build in the good and to pour gasoline on the good parts of family business.
Well, and I think to wrap up, we started this with why do we still care about family business? And it's stories like that we actually the reason why. Less to do with whether we think we're the experts and whether we're just overcoming our imposter syndrome, and more to do with the fact that when there's conflict in family business, and if that business goes awry, I've heard similar story, like nephew went to work for the family business and got fired. Now the brother and sister don't talk. Like, that's terrible. That's
Yeah.
if it's parents and suddenly kids don't have access to their grandparents, everything is awkward. Nobody knows who they're, which side are you choosing? The When work is personal, the stakes are so much higher. They're so
Mhm.
much higher. So for me, like, there's there's people that if you're in a corporate job, you can be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna quit and go get another job." And if you're in a family business, theoretically, you absolutely can quit and go get another job. And it's going to be much more painful and much more difficult. And
And in this business venture, that's part of why we're talking about what is the plan of action in advance if somebody wants to quit and go get a different job.
yeah,
That way, the decision was already made in a time when we don't have emotions on the line, when it's not the height of conflict. We've already decided what the process is going to be. We're just going to follow that process.
well,
When
and
you
yeah,
get too much emotion in it, it feels
yeah,
harder.
yeah. Well, I remember when Josh came to us and was like, "Hey, this was a great college job, but I need to make more money or I need to get a different job." And I'm like, "I'll help you with your resume."
Yeah.
And, because and we just, like, walked through it, and we talked through the timing and all of that sort of thing. So we've navigated people leaving, um,
You've
and
hired tons of friends over the years. We're
oh,
gonna have
for
another
sure.
conversation about that.
Yeah, we sure
Yeah,
have. We've had friends, and I've fired a couple of friends, and lived to tell about it and have maintained relationships. So
and
it's
some
just
maybe not so much.
indeed. Yeah. So, there's a lot. And it's worth it. I mean, this work is really worth it. So, thanks everybody for joining us.
And we hope you guys all have great holiday season. Whatever holidays you celebrate, we hope that you are able to find joy and laughter and peace during this time. Give yourself a break. You're doing a really great job. We're really proud of you and all the work that you're putting in. Until next time, we hope you guys go be freaking awesome.